Well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Underhood Show. Yes, we're back live at the Beer Garden here at the Kansas State Fair. I guess it's Carrie's Beer Garden.
Think we're just going to permanently move the studio here.
Well, I think while we're here at the fairgrounds, you might as well. But hey, it's a big night tonight. August the 3rd is the big night here at the Kansas State Fairgrounds. The Hutch Half Mile. Salt City Racing is bringing in the late models, A mods, stock cars, and some B mods. So I guess we got a little technical difficulty, so we'll get some B. You want to go see? I don't know.
Test.
Yeah, now we got it. Okay, sorry about the technical difficulty. I guess we'll start over again, huh?
Yeah, there we go.
We are live at the Kansas State Fairgrounds at Carrie's Beer Garden, and Charlie and Carrie and all his gang, thank you for letting us hang out again here in the Beer Garden. It's nothing. It's just a special place. I mean, to hang out here right before the races tonight coming up at 7 o'clock here at the fairgrounds. Gates open at 5 for everybody to get in. Pits open at 3, and we're racing late models, A mods, B mods, and stock cars tonight. Nick, it's race number 5, right?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's number 6.
I kind of lost track of that stuff. Josh, you get to join us today, and we just got to make it a big show. It's normally our call-in show. What's wrong with your car? Anything ailing your car? Tires, brakes, batteries. You can get a great price package. This show you can call in on.
Yeah.
And the only show I know you get paid to call in to make money, and that's a great price package for each and every caller. And again, you want to talk about anything in the racing world? You want to talk about here what's going on at Salt City Racing tonight? You want to talk about what's going on at the Beer Garden? Charlie's got some big plans coming up here at the Beer Garden too, so we'll talk about that. And you want to talk anything about your car, racing, whatever, if you call into the show 316-462-3673, you can get a great price package. And as always, Josh, I always challenge when you're not on with me to who can get that right.
Who can make it happen.
Who can make everything that's in that package
well in the right order and the right way, and don't skip anything, because there's a lot of value in there.
There is.
But each and every caller that calls in, we'll mail you out a prize package. It's going to consist of the works, which is an oil change and tire rotation. We use Motorcraft oil and filter products at Mel Hamilton Ford. While we're performing that, we're also going to complete a multi-point inspection on your vehicle, checking over the brakes, tires, steering, suspension, all the safety related components on your vehicle. You'll also get yourself $10 to Mel's Diner, so you can get yourself something to eat and drink while you're with us at the big corner. Complete nitrogen for your tires, so you get all the great benefits that nitrogen has to offer. And then a BG products package, which consists of a can of MOA or motor oil additive for your engine oil, and then 44K for your fuel system. Again, just getting that vehicle geared up and ready to go for that next 5,000 miles of driving.
All right, so let's get the phones ringing, 316-462-3673. And again, if you want to talk about something that's ailing your car, or you want to talk about racing, you want to talk about what's going on here at the fairgrounds tonight here at the Big Half Mile, whatever it works, 316-462-3673. We'll get things kicked off and everything else too. So night number 6, Nick, here we go.
It's been a wild ride so far. It's going to be hard to top what we did here back on July 19th and 20th, but we're sure going to try.
Hey, you know what? I tell you, going into that race for the Silver Crown race, I was maybe sleeping a couple hours a night because I was so nervous how it was going to come off, bringing that big sanctioned body here and stuff like that. But I tell you, I don't think I come off my high until Tuesday of the following week, because it was a great show, great time. So I know we're going to have a good track tonight.
Yeah, I think every time we've come out here, we've kind of been hit with a different set of circumstances for the racetrack, and every night we have learned a lot. So pretty excited about tonight, kind of trying to put everything together that we've learned so far. And then on the 19th and 20th, Kyler and his team, I think they're going to have us an awesome racetrack, and the racing will be pretty good. So
anyway, yep, excited. So Josh joining us here today, and we're so pumped about racing stuff, but again, it's yours and I show today, but we're throwing everything else in here, right?
That's all right. That's
now,
okay.
As somebody knows, there's another seat sitting here. Kyler must have stayed up late. He was up late working on the track while he's not here. So
yeah,
we got to roast him a little bit.
I thought that's why we were doing the show in the Beer Garden.
Oh, well, okay. Well, yeah, so we can meet up with Kyler.
Yeah.
So maybe he just left here a few hours ago. We don't know.
Well, that's right. We don't know that for sure. But I will tell you, he's still looking for his socks, I think, Nick.
You think so?
I think he's looking for his socks. He can't find his socks. That's why he can't get them. So anyway, so excited for tonight. Excited for night number 6 here at the fairgrounds. And Just can't wait to see how many cars show up. Fans, let's fill these stands. We got to keep proving this Fairboard. That's what we want to do. Big announcement earlier this week on Wednesday. We announced October the 5th for an open mod show and support classes to be determined.
Yep.
Nick, I'm getting a lot of questions about that.
Me too. I think it's going to be pretty good.
We haven't announced payout yet, but we will have. We kind of got that dialed in pretty close.
We're pretty close. We're pretty close.
And this is going to be when?
October the 5th.
Yep.
Okay.
Saturday night, isn't it? It's
Saturday
a Saturday night, October the 5th.
And again, this is the night. This was the only night available in October we could have. So we're running on top of Hayes,
Yep.
but we're going to make sure that we don't run any classes that's Chris Sutton is running out at Hayes. So there's no mess up
Yep.
there, whatever. That's why we're still trying to determine exactly the support classes we'll have with the open mod show. But I'm excited for that open mod show for what we've. Josh, everybody is wanting all these different classes to race here and everything else like this. And this is really kind of the last class we haven't gotten on the track to come race. So it's going to be fun. It's not sanctioned by any sanctioning body. It's just going to be, that's why it's called an open mod show. And we just got about, 5 or 6 rules.
Pretty simple.
Very good.
And,
Pretty simple.
So we might have to alter just a couple little things. I'm not sure yet, too. I think we got one more we threw in there. Okay, so we're going to, mod guys, you got to weigh 2450. 8-inch rim, 8-inch tire. Any tire you want to run to, it don't matter. If you want to run American Racer or Hoosier. Any motor you want to run, so it doesn't matter what motor you want to bring. 5-inch spoiler, 39-inch deck height, and then we threw one more thing in there. You got to have a carburetor, and we can't go get somebody putting a 410 sprint car motor in there. Trying to run that too. So carbureted.
So like just a carburetor bolted on the car or a functioning carburetor?
Functioning
carburetor. The carburetor has to be delivering fuel to the intake manifold.
So that's what do they call that? Left for interpretation.
Yes.
John Settleby says he might bring his hobby stock. Well, bring it on, buddy. You did a great job the last time you raced with the stock cars. Love to have you again. And Daryl Nelson, I missed the motorcycle racing back in the 70s. Daryl, I got a lot of people asking about flat tracks. I get it. Hang tight. So I'm trying to tell you, hang tight. If you don't think we want to put motorcycles on here, you're crazy. We do want to put them on here. We got to get everything situated, planned in, and ready to go. We got a lot of ideas. We just got to get this multi-year contract signed in October at the Fair Board, and then look out for everything we want to bring to the track and what we want to go do from that part. Robert Calhoun says, looking forward to it. As always, Robert comes out here and does a heck of a job singing the national anthem.
Yes.
And everything. So tonight he's going to do the prayer too for us.
Oh, very good. Yeah, very good. So I've got a question for you, and this is both for the listeners and you guys as well. So done a lot of racing over the years, and Friday, Saturday night. So like from a racer's standpoint or from a spectator standpoint, like what's the preference and why? I want to race on Friday or I want to race on Saturday because, what's the reasoning behind one day or the other?
It's a good question. We like to race Friday and Saturday.
Well,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
But, I think a lot of people enjoy racing on Friday nights that run one night a week because they can get out there, they can get their racing done on Friday night, and then they have the whole rest of the weekend to spend with their family.
Yeah.
But, in other areas where, racing is big like this one, Saturday night's kind of the night for a lot of your crown jewel tracks around the country too. So
do you, so as a racer for me, or from the racing side of it, I would think like, okay, Saturday night, that way I'm not rushed during the week or work week, so to speak, to get to the track and be able to have time to be prepped and ready and not rushed. It always seems like if I'm rushing to do something, like it's not going to go my way. Things aren't going to work out my way, right?
Yeah. No, it's a totally valid point. I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because, like for us, when we race every Friday night, I mean, we have to be locked, loaded, and ready to go on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Because on Friday, we won't have time to do it.
Well, and then, so out of all the tracks and stuff, do you see a general influx in spectators one night versus the other, from a fan's standpoint?
Well, Josh, and that's a great question on that side too, because we race Dodge, we race Salina, we race Hayes. It's kind of our main 3 tracks that we actually run on and stuff too. From that part, and every track's a little different on when they get their crowd and when they don't. From that part too, you know what I'm saying? So it will So that's a great question on where the crowd's at. I would tell you, Salina's always got a great crowd. Last weekend, Kyler did a free night, and he had the most people I'd ever seen in the stands. Okay, we got a caller coming.
Yeah, there's a caller on the line. Richard is online. Good morning, Richard. You're on Live with Under the Hood.
Hey, good morning. I've got a question. I used to have it's a Buick LeSabre with the 3800 engine in it. I couldn't understand what was going on here. So what was going on was they have an overflow tank on the radiator. Okay, they got a cold filled line on this tank where you fill up coolant to the cold fill. Okay, I was always having that overflow tank go empty. So after filling it up and seeing it go empty about 4 or 5 times, I just stopped filling it up, and then I would open up instead I would just open up the radiator cap, and the radiator would never go down. So never could figure out why that tank was always going empty. Any ideas what was going on there?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things. First of all, what year was that vehicle?
It was an older Buick LeSabre. It's a 90.
A 90. Yeah. So those 3.8 liter engines were, I would say, almost bulletproof.
Yeah, they made them for quite a few years and put them in a lot of different cars too.
For a lot of
years. And in its
years.
day, it had a lot of power.
Yeah. There for a while they even supercharged them.
Yeah.
But
I still remember a supercharged one, and I would run an IROC Z with them one time.
Really?
In Bonneville. Yeah.
Who was driving?
Me.
No, the IROC.
Some guy. I don't know who it was. He challenged me, and I took off and outrun him. And he pulled up beside me. He goes, "What in the heck's in there?" And I pointed out because I had, down on the fender, it had that supercharged SSEI. He goes,
This guy he got up early. He called in here. He's got a question for it, and you're driving it right back to racing, Phil.
That's crazy.
So anyway,
okay, I don't know where you're going, Josh, but I know exactly where I'm going with it.
So I've got what I'm going to say is those things were notorious for they had a plastic intake on them.
Yep.
And there was a EGR port that run through the center of this plastic intake. And what would happen was that EGR port, from the exhaust gas going through it, it would get hot and it would burn out the plastic around it. And then there's coolant in these plastic that passes through these plastic intake plenums. And so it would end up leaking a little bit of coolant into the engine. It would be one thing. I don't know if that's where you were.
That's exactly where I was
where you were headed. And that was I would say out of that engine, that was probably about the only really thing that would go wrong with it.
Yeah. And it took a while to make that even happen.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. I'd even seen it in severe cases enough that it would actually hydrolock the engine from dumping so much coolant into it.
Yeah.
And so I would guess that's probably what the deal was. The other thing, and you remember they had a bulletin for a little while. And if Jared's listening, I'm sure he could vouch for this deal too.
Oh, GMs don't ever have any problems.
Yeah,
right?
no. So they had that.
Nothing ever breaks in those.
They had a bulletin for there was coolant passages in the throttle body.
Yep, remember that too.
And they would leak in there. And GM's resolution, I'll never forget it. They had the coolant tabs, and basically, I mean the tab itself to me reminded me of packed sawdust.
That's exactly.
And the part of the bulletin was you replace the throttle body nuts and you drop 3 of these tablets in the radiator and away you went. So I would guess one of those 2 things is probably what was happening with that thing. So do you still own the car?
Not anymore. It just got too much mileage on it, and I did trade it off. But it was just baffling, to where that coolant was going. I'd looked under the bottle, that overflow tank wasn't leaking.
Yeah.
And the radiator, they never seemed to go down, so I couldn't kind of figure out what was going on there. So I just, it just got a high mileage on it, so I did trade it off.
Yeah. Yeah, I would guess that it's, that it was coming from that intake or that plenum would be my guess. So
yeah, Rex Trigger comes on and says 3800 would go 50,000 miles between oil changes too. They could.
So yeah,
You
I
only
would,
get about 2 oil changes out of it. But
wouldn't necessarily advise that. But
No.
Richard got a question for you. We were talking about racing. As a spectator, would you prefer to go to a race on Friday night or Saturday night, and why?
Well, I work nights, so I work Friday night. So it'd be
Ain't
better.
gonna work.
It'd be a lot easier for me. Saturdays.
Okay,
Gotcha.
Richard, I'm going to throw something else at you. Is if you want to come to the races tonight, I'll get you a couple tickets to get in free if you want.
Well, you know what? I'd take you up on that. Except I think we're having a big car show downtown tonight, so I'll be end up going with that with my brother. My brother and I are real big into car shows. So we're going to go down to that tonight. So thank you very much for that offer, though.
Is that the Automobilia car show
it
that's
is.
tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's automobile.
Correct. That is it.
Well, very good.
Hey, well, have fun at the car show. You're going to miss out. It's going to be more fun here than the car show. So sorry. Have fun. So,
You guys have a good afternoon.
Hey,
Thank you.
thanks for the call.
all right, got a couple things on the chat line, and of course, John Silva says he's bringing his hobby stock tonight, and Dalton Pretty says, Silva, you can't run with them boys. Well, I hate to tell you, Dalton, he ran fourth the last time with the stock cars here with his hobby stock. So
With hobby stock tires on.
with hobby stock tires, and I think then we put some stock tires on that card and see what it really do. So, yes, Dalton, he can run with them. Okay. Promise you, because I've seen it done, make it happen. Okay, another comment coming through the line. I guess Chad Salem had a pretty good wreck last night. You know that?
Yeah, he did. He kind of got into the I believe the gate at Belleville last night. I haven't heard anything on his condition. I think he's okay, but did tear down part of the fence, and they had to fix that. And but yeah, it's scary. Scary when you wreck anywhere, but definitely scary when you wreck at Belleville.
Yep. As fast as that place is, because it's one of those tracks you just never let off.
Yeah. So
Never let off. Just hang tight. And like a lot of guys tell you they got to have the numbers in the corner so they know what corner they're in.
yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. I've never been there. Just watched it on, streaming stuff and everything else like that. How many times you been there, Nick?
I've been there several times. I mean, I've raced on it,
I went by
but I mean, I've been to a lot of races there. I've seen a lot of different cars race on it, but it's kind of like a big circle. There's really not much for straightaways, and you just stand on the gas and get the steering wheel in about this position here and go around there. So
It's like riding a washing machine.
it's like riding a washing machine. But
Good analogy, Josh. Good analogy.
What's the most banked track?
Dirt track?
dirt track, I think well, probably Bristol. But
Yeah.
the original Bristol dirt, probably. I think the last few times they've done it, they've kind of tapered it off a little bit. But I think probably Belleville used to be probably
Pretty high
one
up
of the
there.
most high bank tracks.
Yeah.
I think maybe they've cut that down a little bit too. I mean, you see some old pictures of like late models and stuff racing on Belleville where the photographer was standing down on the infield and taking a picture up, and it would just look like those cars were just like going around like on a wall. It was just that banked. But I can tell you, it'll make you think about all the important things in your life when you get out there and they turn the green light on. Let me tell you. So,
All right, 316-462-3673. This is a call-in show, and it's supposed to be anything about your car. Alien needs help with it, tires, brakes, batteries. But today it's race day, so if you want to talk about racing, whatever, you get that brake price package about over $130. 316-462-3673. That comes right at the front desk of the dealership. Tell the girls you want to get patched in the podcast. We'll get you on here, and then first of the week, Josh will send you out that package for over $130. A big-time 5,000-mile maintenance service, basically what it amounts to. So
Yeah, and I want to know, do you want to race on Friday or Saturday?
both.
Well, and in the 3.8 liter. In fact, I think it was a race on the way over today on the truck and trailers, wasn't it? What happened to you? You fall asleep at the light again?
yeah, I got up a little later than you guys.
No, I think he didn't have fast enough. What I think.
There you go.
Hey, anyway, tonight it is Richardson Brothers Construction Night here at the fairgrounds for our race. So thank you, John and Ross Richards, for everything you've done to help us with this racetrack, not let alone sponsorship, but let alone all the relationships you've helped us with to bring this races on and stuff from here. So it's a big night for Richardson Brothers Constructions, and it looks like we got another caller coming in, Josh. You want to get that set
Yep,
or
we'll
whatever?
get him patched through. And
Delbert, are you going to come to Hutch and come to the races? How about it, Delbert? Delbert, are you coming all the way from
Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City. Yeah, couldn't think of that for a minute. Sorry.
I think,
What happened to Hutchin Raceway Park? Well, Daryl, it just went done. They closed it, and now it's just I hear it's a field full of cows, is what I hear. Not much left. I think the stands are a little
over
portion-
there,
the
over
frame,
yeah, by the
I
dump.
think the frame of the stands is still there, and I think that's about it. You can kind of look from above. You can kind of still see the circle out there and stuff in the track. Sad deal from that part for sure.
That was always a fun place to race on Friday night.
Yeah, I was out there many Friday nights as a spectator. So, and Maddie, 316-462-3673. We don't have it up on the screen.
Oh
That's
yeah,
okay.
we'll get the phone number up on the screen. But while we're doing that, let's go. Let's talk to Bill Lindsay. Bill, you're live with Under the Hood.
Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Got a quick question for you, Josh. My son has got a 18 GT Mustang and is looking at putting the E3 plugs in it. What are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I am. Man, you see a lot of advertisements out there for spark plugs and various tips on them, and stick with factory. I, as a technician over the years, I've been involved in a lot of cases where people have put an aftermarket plug in something, and it's really induced more problems than it has. I've seen a lot of claim to fames on higher fuel economy and better spark, and it's just first of all, on the better spark, it's the ignition coil that's going to produce the spark, not the plug, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes.
you're only going to be. And then I've seen, years ago they had the what were they, split fires? So it had the
Yeah.
V tip on them,
Yep.
and then you went to I've seen the quad side of things, and you're only going to be able to ignite that bomb one time, right?
Right.
Once it's
Yeah.
lit, it's lit.
Yeah. It's only going to have as much voltage as your ignition coil is going to get it.
Yeah. So 100%, I'm definitely a factory plug person. And here's the thing too about spark plugs. Years ago, you were putting plugs in,
10,000 miles.
10, 20, 30,000 miles.
Mm-hmm.
Any more 100,000 miles, pretty easy on that. Now there are, with the turbos and the lighter weight oil and stuff like that, we are starting to see plugs become a wear item a little sooner in the life of an engine, with some of these modern engines now, but it's still not 10, 20, 30,000 miles. You're talking
No,
50,
60,
60,000 miles from that side of things. So, but definitely I'm a firm believer in factory plugs. Phil, I don't know.
100% with you. You nail on the head. So you put a better spark plug. They say a better spark plug in it. The spark is not, like you said, it's not generated from that. It's generated from the coil. Back when we were changing spark plugs every 10,000 miles, we're changing points and condenser too. But the spark, the amount of amps coming through that was maybe, 5,000-6,000 amps. Coming through that. Now we're putting 80 and 90,000 amps coming through these spark plugs. There's no way a spark plug is going to do anything any better, anything different until you do amp up on the spark and all that stuff. But again, why do you need a hotter spark if you're not putting more fuel at it or putting more compression at it or whatever too?
Yeah, or changing the fuel that you're burning, right?
Yeah.
Like a different octane or something along those lines.
Yeah. It's as much as I love keeping, there's certain aftermarket parts that are beneficial and do help things, situations from that. But a spark plug deal, I still remember they came out with that split fire. And that was in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
And that's when I was in Topeka, and they had Jim Yates was a pro stock driver. He was driving a Pontiac Firebird, and that was his big sponsor.
Oh yeah.
And we had him at the store and everything else too. And I got to be right in his pits and all that stuff. His wife was, just a fantastic family. But again, he took the money from the spark plug to keep his race car going. But that day, him and I even had that conversation. He said, "Oh, I know," but he says, "You know what? I can't get on the air and tell you that. But I get it." But it was a split fire, is what it was.
Yeah.
And but that just can you take a split fire and put it in a high performance engine and get a bigger spark and more amps and more things behind it, more compression? Is that going to make a bigger deal? Yeah, it could, very well could. But in a stock situation, doesn't help you a bit.
Well, Bill, great question. I appreciate you calling into the show. I know we need to get together here. I apologize I didn't get back to you the end of last week. This last week, but yeah, we need to get together, and sounds like you got plaque or something for the car show.
Yeah, I've got
For
your guys' sponsorship appreciation plaque for you guys.
Well, we
Present
we
to
haven't been doing very much. We're just kind of sitting around our feet up on our desk, Bill. We're just kind of hanging out.
You've been
So.
I know you guys been kind of busy with that and everything else going on.
So, yep. Greatly appreciate the call, Bill, and I'll get a hold of you the first part of next week. All right.
All right, no worries. Thanks a lot. Have a good weekend.
You too. Thanks.
Anyway, Jeremy Kane comes up and says, my Jeep seems to run better on E3 spark plugs for some reason. Well, I'll tell you why, Jeremy, why you think it's happening better, because probably the spark plugs you took out were wore out, and you just put a new spark plug in and you think it runs better from that part. I promise you, if you put in a factory plug, you'd have felt the same improvement or whatever from that standpoint. But you take a spark plug that's wore out and put a new spark plug in it, guess what? You are going to see some performance improvement, fuel economy improvement, and everything else from that part. But it's still not going to, that plug is not going to outperform on a stock situation ever. Mark my word, I'll take you to the bank on that one. How about that?
There you go. Hey, we got a caller on the
All
line.
right.
Let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Maddie. Good morning. You're on the hood.
Good morning.
Hi, Maddie.
Hi. I was just going to ask a question. If they still race the topless late models.
The topless late models.
Yeah.
They do. I don't think they do around here. That would definitely be something fun to maybe do at some point. But they do have the big topless late model race. I can't remember where it's at every year, but I think it pays $100,000 to win or something like that. They just had it here maybe a couple of months ago, but no, they really don't around here. I know we have one night I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they used to have a night every year at Salina Speedway where we would run the modifieds and we would take the roofs off.
And I kind of hated that idea, but then once I saw that and we did it, it was cool to watch the drivers maneuver. You could see them better in the cars and what they were doing and how their hands were moving and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, back in the 2000s, Lonnie Smith around here started a late model series called TORA, the Topless Outlaw Racing Association, and they ran that series at tracks all around here for several years, and it was a huge success. And it was definitely fun to watch just for that reason, because you could see the cars in the or see the drivers in there sawing on the steering wheel,
going to town on the wheel.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, Maddie. I've always liked that. I think that's a really cool thing, and I'm with you. I think somebody should start that up again. So maybe that's something we need to look at doing next year.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool if we had them there. But yeah, that was just a question I had.
We'll have to talk to the late model guys tonight about that, see what they think.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
So, Maddie, I got a question for you. Racing on Friday night or Saturday night? Which would you prefer and why?
I would say probably Saturday night, mostly because I'm off work on Friday, or I'm off work on Saturday, and I work Fridays. So typically it's just easier for me to get there on Saturdays.
Very good.
Yep.
Very good.
Get
Good
that
answer.
point too. Maddie, thanks for calling in. Thanks for the great question. It'll be interesting to talk to the late model guys and ask them if they want to take their tops off sometime, come around the half mile. Find out, huh, Nick?
Yep.
All right, Maddie, have a great day. I hope you're coming out to the races tonight.
Thank you. I am.
All right, we'll see you tonight then.
Again, the questions in
All right.
yeah. Very good. Have a good day. Again, the question
You too.
is in the details. When you ask that question, you need to specify the rooftop.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
The rooftop.
Yes.
Yes.
Josh is thinking no shirts on.
I'm just, again, you leave it open for interpretation.
That's kind of like you said on the carburetors. That
Yeah.
carburetor just sitting there, a functioning
The carburetor is on
Right.
the car. Check.
Yeah, it can't be like when Buddy Mullins
I was
bolted the torque converter down
okay.
the trunk.
That's what I'm saying. You give a rule book to somebody, what's going to,
They will break it apart.
huh?
They'll
As they
break it
said, we're
apart.
not rule makers. We're not rule breakers. We're rule makers.
Yeah.
We help you refine your rules.
Yeah.
I think is
You gonna tell that story about that?
Oh yeah, where he
Buddy Mullins story.
yeah. You tell it. You told me originally, so I'll hack it up. So you tell it.
how about you get him on the phone and have him tell it?
Well, I tried to call him this morning. He didn't answer.
Oh,
he
that
must
was a
still be
no-go.
Snoozing away. But anyway, Buddy's raced for many, many years. I think he's got more wins here at the fairgrounds than anybody does. And I think one night, if I remember correctly, on this, he brought 4 different classes of cars here and won in all 4 classes here one night.
Really?
Yeah,
Over here?
here at Hutch. Yeah. So anyway, even in my day on my car, I had a 2-speed Power Glide. Is what I ran, and I had a little valve on the side that, you know, instead of having a clutch, I had a little valve. We turned and locked it into gear, and off we went. And so they came up with a rule that they had to have a torque converter bolted in the car. Well, they bolted it in the trunk in the back of the car.
It was bolted in the car.
It's bolted in. So another deal of a rule maker,
Uh-huh.
not a rule breaker.
You know what I see the next race? A refined rule.
No, it was. It was.
Yep.
So, hey, I got a question for you, and I don't know. I was trying to remember when because somebody was asking about the track out south of town or west of town. Did they run both tracks?
Yeah.
At the same time?
Not
or?
the same time, no.
That's
Never
what.
ran the same
Yeah, I
time,
think.
never.
Yeah, and I don't think they ever both were running at the same time.
You know, that's just it. Coming, you know, these dates that we got this year, you know, I hate the fact that we're running against 81 tonight with some of the cars we got, but you know, I'm sorry. It's just this is the only date we got.
Yeah.
We didn't get a pick this date. That's why we already got our dates kind of picked for 2025. We want to get them presented to the fair board here pretty quick. We're waiting on one little sanction body to come back to us before we throw those dates out there. And we're also looking for, there was a car show in Salina last weekend. We want to make sure what date that is. So that makes sure. We had a great conversation with Chuck Fairchild from Salina this week. Nick and I went up to Salina, met with him, and talked about how there's several nights this year we were on top of him too. But he's agreed that he will close his track when we're racing on a Friday here, so all the cars can come here and do that and help each other from that part. And it's like the October 5th race, and we're on top of Chris in Salina. I mean, in Hayes, but we're gonna make sure we don't run any of his classes that he's running out there down here to have something totally different, so we don't take any car count away from Chris in Salina at Hayes while we're doing that too. So
it's a combined effort, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody's got to work together.
Everybody has to work together.
There's plenty of racing to go around.
And that's exactly right. Everybody needs to care if it's IMCA, USRA, USMTS, UMP, whatever. If tracks are thriving, all tracks are thriving. We all have to understand there's people want to watch different classes. People want to watch their different drivers, all that kind of stuff too. Everybody wants to go to different tracks from that part. And we all have to work together to help each other support racing alive and keep going forward and stay positive about what's going on with racing and not try to tear each other apart.
100%. That's the only way it's going to survive.
Exactly right. So anyway, hey, 316-462-3673. Hey, it's supposed to be talking about what's ailing your car. And
yeah, we had that 3.8 liter question you turned into racing.
Yeah, I did. Imagine that. And but anyway, today it's August 3rd, 6th night of racing at the Hutch Fairgrounds. Late models are coming, A mods, B mods, and stock cars here tonight. So got to get out here to the fairgrounds, everybody. We need to fill these stands up again like we've been doing and show this fair board this is the correct thing to do to keep racing here at the fairgrounds. And let's make 2025, 26, 27 a big time from that part too. So
what's the largest class of car count? Just like all over the state of Kansas. What's there the most of out there?
That's a good question.
Kind of putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I think it would probably be, I mean, in the IMCA world, I think it would probably
be a modified, wouldn't you think?
No, I think it would probably either be the sport mod or the hobby stock.
Hobby stock. I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And so is it that way because of cost of entry type deal?
Yeah, I think so. It's a lot more cost effective. It's a lot more achievable for most people. But and then I think when you get more into the USRA side of things, I think at that point it may be the modified.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But I think in the IMCA world, it would probably be a toss-up between the sport mod and the hobby stock.
Yeah.
So yes, John Silva, hobby stocks will be back on the docket for next year. The reason we went off the docket is just because you guys all raced up in Salina on our Fridays on that part of the situation, and I totally understand that. Not being negative towards that situation, but now that Chuck's decided to close on those Fridays that we're racing our once a month here, like we're going to be doing in 2025. Yes, we'll put the hobbies back on. Love to have the hobbies here. You guys put on a great show when you were here. From that part. So got a lot of exciting stuff for 2025, that's for sure. Okay, 316-462-3673. Let's keep the phones ringing. Got a few more minutes on the line here before we can take some more calls and get that great prize package about over $130 for each and every caller. So, Nick, what have you left out for tonight? It's Richard Brothers Construction Night.
High Plains Dirt Car Late Model Series.
They just raced out in Rush County last night. Or were they race?
I don't know more. I don't know if they raced last night or not.
I thought they did.
Maybe they did. I don't know.
I thought they raced.
I don't know where they were at.
So, but anyway, they're going to be here tonight. So the
Yep.
late models are the big full body cars with those big wide tires on the side of them, and some a little bit hotter motors and stuff. So fun to watch those guys scream around here and have some fun on those late models tonight. So
Yeah.
don't
Late
wanna
models
miss-
have always been fun to watch here. They get around this place pretty good.
Yeah, the half mile is fun to watch and that sort of thing too. So
You know what? One of the things in watching cars, and I don't know if it's just me, but I always watch in dirt. If you get just a light dusting on the track, like you can see how the air flows over the car from the dirt, and it always amazes me. You can see differences from car to car, and I don't know, just trying to pick up on that stuff and watch that. Watching these guys go around the track, that's always something that I've always been fascinated by.
yeah. I mean, it is kind of cool to watch that. And is air a factor in some of these cars? Yeah, here, especially
100%.
here at Hutch, as fast as we go. The mile an hour coming entered into the corner so much faster. So these tracks these are some long straightaways, and a lot of guys say this track's hard on motors. I get it, it is. But again, to win here at the fairgrounds is kind of when you're feathering your cap to win here and at this track, from all the history that's here and all that kind of stuff too. But you're right, the air does affect it. And
So now, as a racer, when Jake's out there running around the corner, I mean, I know you're probably looking at 100 things, but position of the car, like lift on the way the suspension's torquing, like if you had one thing that you had to choose, what are you watching and why?
Really, the attitude of the car is really the biggest thing, because you can tell when it's going around the racetrack, if it's balanced, if it's turning correctly, if it's rotating correctly, and just the opposite, you can tell if it's not balanced, if the driver can't drive it, if the driver can't get it in the corner, if he's having to, turn it twice or, so really just the attitude of the car, I think, is the biggest deal.
Yep. And then the other thing is, you're watching the car, how it's setting, what it's doing. I'm listening to that motor when he's
That's
on
what-
the gas,
yeah.
off the gas, but I'm also watching the front wheels because that tells you a lot too, what's happening to that car, where the front wheels are pointed from that part too.
So you got that. And then, like, how important is the communication between the driver and the you know what I'm saying? The driver's got to be able to understand what's going on too, right? And then has to be able to translate that back to somebody has maybe a different view perspective, or to where you guys can kind of get together and come up with a game plan, right?
Trust me, we video every one of Jake's races, and it's not to do anything other than to go back and watch what the car does, what happens. We watch that videos, and I'll sit down when I get home at night and watch the previous night's races and stuff and go through it. Buddy and Tanner and I and Nick will sit down with Jake and we'll talk about what the car did, what we need to change differently, and things to try, all that kind of stuff too. It's a crucial factor of communicating with Jake and knowing what he's doing, what he feels, what he's got. And, Salina last night was very, very heavy. Haven't seen that track that heavy in a long, long time. And, with these 400 horsepower motors, we needed about 600 horsepower last night.
We needed two of them, didn't we?
To be able to get around that track efficiently as we needed to, because when you have a heavy track like you got so much traction, the car just doesn't have the power to pull through those heavy tracks from that part. So, talking to them about that, and that's the first really heavy track we've raced on all year. So when Jake got a car, I said, "What did it mean?" He said to me, "I don't know." I don't really know either.
Yeah.
That's why I tried to call Buddy this morning to talk to him about what he could see and what we should have done different to the car to set up. We thought we made a couple adjustments to it last night, and I think we made the right direction. Whether we made exactly the right amount of adjustments, whatever is
Maybe not
Not enough.
aggressive.
We may not have
enough
gone
in that
far
direction.
it wasn't
Yeah.
far enough. That's for sure. Because
Well, but then there's something to be said about going too far too, right? Like,
yeah. We've done that before too. But kind of back to your point, you were talking about the aero and how crucial that is. And here, I don't know, a month or two ago, there were some pictures that kind of went viral in the racing world on the internet of a dirt late model. And, the picture was, of a dirt late model kind of, rocked over in the corner, and, it kind of looked normal because, that's the way everybody's used to looking at it. But the guy took that photo and reversed that photo. And when he reversed that photo to, an angle of the car that your eyes weren't trained to look at, it let you see just how skewed up those cars are and what they're doing to those things to make them so aerodynamic.
Yeah.
And I've heard rumors that maybe in the future they're going to start building, kind of like NASCAR's always had the template
That
thing
plate
forever.
you
That
put over
late
the top of the
model is
car.
going to kind of probably go to some common templates to kind of get the aero packages kind of back in check.
equally
and,
the same or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So what talking about aerodynamics and this being a half-mile track, that's got to be a difference, right, between a 3H track and now you put a car on a half-mile track.
Totally.
It is. And, we even see this a little bit in the modifieds where, when Jake is, in traffic and in dirty air, as we call it, the car handles different and drives different for him than when he gets out there in that clean air and, can just cut right through it. So, I mean, even in the modified stuff, the aero has become super important.
Yeah, and I do. I mean, we talked about that driving home last night from Salina. A couple things we're going to do to the car here just for this track too. Don't let those secrets out of the bag, but there's a couple things we are going to try tonight too. From that part, Rex Trigger, there are late models limited by cubic inch. There's a lot of different rule packages out there, but I don't know. Is there a cubic inch rule on the late models?
So I don't think so. Not in the open stuff. I think it's pretty much unlimited. They a lot of these super late models, like your World Outlaws and your Lucas and stuff, they're actually building. I mean, those engines. I mean, they're still based off of Chevrolet, but they're building like those wide bore engines and stuff. So they're custom machining the block and the heads and everything and putting them together and making big power with them. So.
Big power. Yeah, exactly. Hey, we got another caller, Josh. You want to
Yeah,
get
I'm getting him patched through, so he'll be up here in just a little bit.
We'll get Ryan on here just a little bit here too. So
sounds like he's on now. So good morning, Delbert. You're on live with Under the Hood. How are you?
I'm good, man. What are you guys doing today?
Hey, just hanging out here in Carey's Beer Garden. Wish it was 5 o'clock somewhere.
Are you missing somebody? You got an extra chair still.
Yeah, I get it.
Well,
Did
yeah.
you invite me and I not show up?
Well, yeah. You got time to get here yet? You're in good shape yet. You can get here.
Yeah. To Hutch, that's almost 3.5 hours. 3 hours, 10 minutes. Or so.
You're all right. You're good. You're still good. Races don't start. If you got here by 6:30, you'd be just fine.
I was. Oh man, if I could, I got to do some work on the house.
I know. Here comes every excuse in the world, Josh. Hear that? Got to work on the house. You can do that tomorrow, Delbert. You don't got to do it today.
It's very tempting. It really is.
Very, very good.
Yeah.
What's on your mind today,
Hey,
Delbert?
I want to say one thing real quick before I forget. Josh, do not send me a package this week. Thank you.
Okay. Gotcha.
Unless you're just trying to get rid of them. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what we want to do, Delbert.
all right. Send me a package. Anyway, so the Bronco Sports, we've got two of them. And I can't speak for both of them, but mine, I don't want to say it's having a transmission slippage issues, but complaints about something like that. You're just going from reverse to drive or vice versa.
So would you
Or hesitates to go into gear.
would you more describe it like a harsh engagement or something, or a delayed
kind of.
engagement,
Not
or
super harsh, but just enough that you can feel it, if that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, there are it amazes me, and we talk about this a lot on the show, obviously, but it amazes me how often there's updates that are out there and available for stuff just like that.
Hey, Delbert, you wouldn't believe years ago I used to get a lot of crap for that.
He was about
Put an update in it, boy. I got so much trouble for that.
10 years before your time, maybe. Is that what? Yeah.
But it's amazing now
I'm
how
not
updates
hard
do
on
fix
this car.
stuff.
I'm really not. I'm just curious if you had any complaints about, going from reverse to drive or vice versa. And And another thing I noticed is, I park slightly on a hill on my driveway. It's not a big hill at all, maybe a couple of degrees. However, if I shut it off too quickly and take my foot off the brake, it actually applies
The parking brake. Yeah.
which I think is kind of cool. But I didn't know if that's like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it amazes me all the safety automated stuff that they put on these vehicles anymore. I mean, well, even for that vehicle to know that it's parked on an incline to do that, right? Because it doesn't happen every time. So a couple of things about the transmission and the way it's shifting, and a lot of people don't even realize this too, but that vehicle has what they call a shift adapting strategy. And so basically it caters to the way you operate that vehicle and how it shifts it. And it learns that over a series of time. And that is something that every once in a while, if it's not, the vehicle's not shifting the way you like or desire, that we've went in and reset those strategies and allowed it to basically kind of do a relearn. But then the other thing too is like what we were talking about is I would the very first place I would check on your particular vehicle would be, is there an update available for it? And then the other side of that too is you need to make sure that you have it connected to your home Wi-Fi and that it's able to receive the over-the-air updates, because it may be something that it had an update one way or the other and it didn't load the whole thing, or they would put an update out and it would then be able to correct that by itself, and you never even have to take it into a repair facility for sure. So, and that's something we can look at it. I can check a lot of those things without even having to come into the store, just by the VIN number of which Bronco you're talking about. So I'll get you a call the first part of next week and we can kind of discuss which one it is. But I don't think the normal consumer understands.
Well, just send me a text, because we've got an exercise this week and I'm not sure I'll be able to take your call when you call.
Okay.
So
Okay.
if you call, hey, I got a few minutes, and I'll call you back that way. How's that?
Okay. Sounds good. Or if you want to send me your VIN number, we can do it that way too. No problem. But, I don't think the normal consumer understands all the behind the scenes on as far as what they're putting into investment and the future of these computers and them updating themselves and all the information that we can look at as a dealership to be able to help fix a vehicle.
I mean, it's Ford Pass app. I mean, there's so many times customers of mine have been traveling and have a check engine light come on or whatever. We can dial in and see what's going on. We can direct them different places. I had a guy he was up in Montana, had a diesel truck, and the DEF system was giving him some failures and stuff. And we got him to a store, got it looked at, figured out it was just a simple sensor and fixed it, and off we went. So
roll on that road.
Well, one of the things I noticed about that Ford Pass app is I don't like the new update.
It's just got to get used to it.
I can't find my mileage at an easy. I can't just go. Remember how you used to be able to find the mileage? Like 2 clicks, you had the mileage.
Yeah,
it's there somewhere.
Yeah, it takes like 6 clicks to find the mileage these days. Like, why'd they mess with that?
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing I'll promise you. It'll change again.
Yep.
So,
yeah, I got it.
Understand that for sure. Well, very good. Thanks for the call, Delbert, and you have a great day.
Hey, you guys as well, and good luck. Are you racing tonight with Jake?
Oh yeah, we'll be here. Jake's cars are ready here.
Good luck tonight. I'll try to watch live. How's that?
There you go. Watch it on Racing Dirt. That's where we'll be at. Okay, buddy.
What was that again?
Racing Dirt. RACINDIRT.
Racing Dirt.
Racing Dirt.
Okay. Have a good evening.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Delbert. Got a couple more callers coming in, so let's get them on the phones. Kyle Weens, cars are good in shape from Rush County last night. Get him ready for Hutch now. Weens brothers, I really appreciate you guys racing with us. Both you guys put on a great show. And he was, I don't remember which brother was in the middle of that 3 wide, the best finish we've had here of the sport mods. I mean, Josh, they were 3 wide. It was incredible how good of a finish he had there. And he was so pumped when he won. That was great. Awesome just to be part of it.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Hey, let's go back to the phones. Let's talk to Ryan. Ryan, you're on live with Under the Hood.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. And I wanted just to hear your best practices, thoughts, and cautionary tales about these point and shoot Freon type deals. My daughter's taking a trip this weekend out to New Mexico and doesn't have air conditioning or doesn't blow cold. And my brother showed her how to load one of these cans, and it really does make it blow cold. And it'll blow cold for about 24 or 36 hours. And then, you just have to rinse and repeat. And so I want her to be comfortable for this long drive, but is there any danger in her, putting it in wrong, exploding, or, I mean, I know it's not a long-term solution. I just wanted to hear you guys talk about if there is some short-term benefit, and we'll look at that. If you look at it, Josh, it's on a little, she drives a 2012 Suzuki SX, and I mean, it blows, but it just blows the hot air,
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think we could probably have a whole segment just just about this specifically. So,
hey, I'm going to listen off air. Thanks, guys,
okay,
for taking a look at it and fleshing it out.
Well,
hey, you bet.
Well, very good. Appreciate the call, and it is a great question, and especially this time of year.
We could spend an hour on this conversation.
You see definitely a huge influx of people around this time of year with that. But what I'm going to tell you is, don't do it. I mean, you're hurting the AC system. There's so many things that are wrong.
Putting humidity in the system,
with doing
wrong
that,
stuff, everything. Yeah.
From
the wrong valve.
So from a safety standpoint, I think was his main concern. Is it safe to do? And here's what I'm going to tell you is there's a high side to that system and a low side to that system. And when you're doing that, you're hooking up to the low side system of it, but you're completely unmonitoring the high side and have no idea what that pressure is or where it's at,
what it's doing. Yep.
and what it's doing. And to me, that is not safe.
No, you could cause so many issues there and hurt yourself really quick.
And so it's definitely not worth it for the 24 hours of relief that you may get out of it. And then my other thing with that in this specific situation, if it's working for 24 hours, like you got a pretty major leak, right?
Yeah,
so
really leaking some more fast.
But be more than happy. I'll get the contact and reach out to you guys and see what we can do to help her out for a trip. I think is the best way to go about that, and not do that can. So.
Yeah. We got another caller.
Yeah, we do. I'm getting them patched through now. So,
but again, we could spend an hour on talking about that and what that does to your AC systems and what has to happen and all that kind of stuff for sure. But we need to figure out what the leak is in that car and get it fixed.
Yeah, would agree with that. So, hey, let's go back to the phones. Good morning, Doug. You're on live with Under the Hood.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, listen, I've got a Subaru Outback that's getting close to 100,000 miles. And I know in this economy, people are holding on to their cars a lot longer. And I'm just wanting to know, generally speaking, and it probably depends on make and model, of course, but what are some maintenance things that need to be done at that 100,000 mile mark?
So definitely I would look at the manufacturer's recommendations for the maintenance guidelines. A couple of things that I'm thinking of are, what are the spark plugs? We talked about those earlier in the show. What are they like? The other thing is in that specific vehicle, is it a timing belt or a timing chain?
Yep.
Typically you see if it's a belt around 100,000 miles is where a lot of manufacturers will recommend those. Then addition to that, I'm going to do a sample of every fluid on that vehicle and just check it over and see what the conditions of the fluids look like, and then get those addressed as well.
Especially on a Subaru, I'm sure most Subarus are all-wheel drive. So you got the transfer case fluid, the differential fluids. Just take samples, like Josh said, and see what they look like. See what you want to do there from that part.
And so I'd definitely be looking over all of those. And then just a multi-point inspection, I think too, is huge for that car, and just making sure that everything's ready to go. You'd made the comment that people are starting to keep their vehicles a lot longer, which, we see that in this industry as well. But I don't know from the sales side of that, Phil, like what as a consumer that's approaching having a vehicle that's approaching 100,000 miles, like where are you at on the value of that vehicle versus once you keep it over that threshold, and kind of talk about that maybe a little bit.
I can, and that's you're talking about people holding their cars longer, and I get that. And these cars are they're a depreciating asset, but you're still got to protect your investment. And then think about the second buyer. What's he going to want? What's he going to want to pay? Because everybody, 98% of what we do today is a payment buyer coming in. They want to know what the payment is on this card, from that standpoint. And I understand that. But the banks will still, when you get to that 100,000-mile mark, the interest rates jump up high. And it's almost true now. I could take you into say a 3 or 4 year old F-150 with, say, 120,000 miles on. I can almost put you in a brand new F-150 for about the same payment from that standpoint too, for what the interest rates are, the incentives are, and everything else from that part too. So you got to look at those things there also. Is what's your vehicle going to depreciate after it goes over that 100,000 miles? We've had a lot of tests done with fleet companies on when they trade and when they move their fleet cars. We've got one company that we sell over 200 cars a year to. And they went from 80 to 120 to 150. They went as high as 180,000 miles before they start. And they analyzed all the costs, and they came back, and they're trading those cars at 80,000. I mean, that's the sweet spot for for the maintenance costs. Because once you go over 80,000, here comes more maintenance costs, from brakes to tires, parts wearing out, all that kind of stuff. So, are you saving yourself money by driving it longer? You could. There's, as long as nothing does break or nothing happens to those cars. It's like talking to the lady the other day, talking about how reliability of different models and all that kind of stuff too. I'm gonna tell you today, everybody's reliability is good.
Everybody's
powertrain is really good. That's really not what breaks on the cars anymore. It's all the sensors and the electronics and all that stuff that kind of breaks on those cars now too. So now, are you saving yourself money and having bigger repair bills down the road, or are you better to trade it? There's odds you can weigh all kinds of things in that situation from that too. So. And that's another conversation we have.
A whole nother hour on that deal too. But Doug, as part of the package for calling into the show today, you'll get that multi-point inspection, and then we can go through and pull all fluid samples and look up, the manufactured recommendations on those belts and plugs and things like that. If that is something that you're wanting to pursue, and keep this car for many, many miles. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I appreciate the show. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you for the call. Appreciate it very much. Anyway, how much is a ticket? Tickets are $18, 12 for kids, 12 and under, right?
Yep.
Buy them online, save some time, and come right on through the gate. Don't have to go to the ticket booth and buy them. You can just get them scanned and come right on through. And guess who found their socks?
Oh.
Kyler says good morning. He must have just woke up and found his socks. So he's full.
He's probably still laying in bed.
Kyler, I looked at the track this morning, and it looks pretty sweet. Got a lot of moisture hanging out in there too, so it looks really, really good, buddy. Can't thank Kyler and all his crew from Dodge City that come and help us put this show on. Great group of people. We couldn't do it without them, Nick.
No, absolutely not. I mean, just awesome team, organized. They've got it figured out. They've got a game plan, and I don't think we could have put together a better team on our own. That's for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, Kyler, again, thank you and your crew. Can't wait to get started this afternoon on prepping this track, getting it better. But I tell you, when I walked over this morning, the gate was open, looked in there, and Gus and Josh and I were standing there, and I said, man, it looks pretty good. And Gus looked at me, what are you looking at? What are you looking at? Yeah, I know, it's brown dirt. That's what it looks like. It's
and
brown
Phil
dirt.
says those marks in the track that somebody took 3 laps on. I was waiting on them to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
hot lapped the pace
the
truck.
Roush. Yeah.
Larry Frederick's talking about some extended warranty deal getting fined. And yeah, you know what? We can get into that whole segment too about extended warranties. That's another. So we got an hour version of AC. We got an hour version of when to trade cars and depreciation. Then we can talk another hour strictly about extended warranties and why you need one, what to buy, what not to buy, all that kind of stuff too from that part. So I'd love to get in all those kind of conversations from that standpoint too. So anyway, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
It's August the 3rd. It's race night. It's Salt City Racing. We need to fill these stands. Thanks for Charlie and Kerry and all his gang letting us hang out in the beer garden again.
Yep.
Get ready for the September 20 races. Our next race, that is BG night. So that's going to be fun and exciting too for BG VIP night for those guys. I'm sure BG will pack the house and stuff too, but we're going to have the beer garden open after the race on September the 20th. How about that? Is that going to be cool or what?
It is going to be cool.
It'll be awesome.
I can see a car pulling about right over there. There's been a sprint car sitting right there, but I'm thinking another one over here and another one over there, maybe, and whatever. We can have some fun after the 20th race. What do you guys think?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
So anyway, Charlie and Kerry and everybody in his crew, great to work with here at the fairgrounds, taking good care of our spectators that come in to get their concessions and everything else too. So thanks for that partnership with those guys. Excited for Richardson Brothers Construction Night here at Salt City Racing, and let's fill these grandstands, everybody. Let's keep this thing going. Let's make sure this fair board knows this is the right decision to keep racing here, and let's get this multi-year contract. And then Katie, bar the door. What we're going to do next. Nick, what have I left off?
I think that's it. Get out here, fill the grandstands. Let's go.
Late models, A mods, B mods, stock cars. Let's go. Let's go have some fun. Come out the half mile and enjoy the concessions. Enjoy this fun. Enjoy the excitement. We ran into one of my friends out coming around the corner there, and she goes, "Well, I gotta go to dinner." You still come after dinner? Just get
Go
out
after
here.
dinner.
There's still a great
plenty of
concessions.
time.
Everything else going on. A lot of excitement. A lot of racing. Everything else too. So everybody, hang tight. Get here. Don't be late. Be in the stands. Let's go have some fun. Hey, we have some fun things we're going to hand out before the races.
Yep.
The first several hundred people are going to have some great prizes handed out to you. So you might want to be first in line. Right, Josh?
Yeah.
Josh has got a big old smile. He knows what that is too. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Tune in next Wednesday at 6 o'clock. We'll give you an update of everything that happened here at Salt City Racing and give you any kind of updates coming forward. Our next race on September the 20th. Everybody have a great Saturday. We'll see you here at the fairgrounds. Let's go racing.
Let's go.